Imagine waking up tomorrow with a mind trained to spot possibilities instantly. No hesitation, no fear, no paralysis. Just clarity, confidence, and forward motion. Most people walk through life with their vision blocked by problems. But a few people, very few, train their minds to flip the script. Where others see a wall, they see a doorway. Where others feel defeated, they feel challenged. Where others quit, they rise. Today's message is about rewiring your mind to see opportunity, not obstacles, so you can break patterns, step into your power, and charge toward your goals with unstoppable momentum. Number 1, your mind is a lens. Your mind is a lens, and whether you realize it or not, every experience you go through is filtered, shaped, and interpreted through this internal viewpoint. Two people can face the exact same circumstance and walk away with two completely different stories, simply because the lens they're looking through is not the same. One person sees barriers, setbacks, and unfair situations, while another sees possibilities, strategies, and openings. This difference is not luck, intelligence, or chance. It is the result of how they've trained their mind to focus and what they've conditioned themselves to search for. Your lens determines what you notice, what you ignore, and what you magnify. If your lens is cloudy with fear, doubt, or scarcity, your life will reflect those patterns back at you, even when opportunities are right in front of you. But if your lens is sharpened with clarity, courage, and purpose, you begin to see things that others miss, not because they aren't there, but because they never trained their focus to detect them. Your mind has an extraordinary ability to expand or shrink depending on what you choose to feed it. If you constantly focus on what's missing, what's broken, or what might go wrong, your lens tightens until all you can see is limitation. Challenges look bigger, risks feel heavier, and your own potential appears smaller than it actually is. But when you intentionally direct your mind toward growth, learning, and possibility, the lens widens. Suddenly, a setback becomes a message, a delay becomes a lesson, and discomfort becomes a doorway. You begin to reinterpret the same reality through a different frame, one that empowers you instead of weakening you. Your circumstances may not change overnight, but your interpretation does, and that shift alone can transform how you think, feel, and act every single day. Every thought you allow into your mind is like adjusting the focus ring of your lens. If you repeat stories about why something is impossible, your mind will always zoom in on evidence of failure. It will highlight danger, exaggerate obstacles, and suppress potential solutions. But the moment you shift your internal dialogue, even slightly, your brain starts searching for new data. It looks for reasons you can win, paths you can take, and strategies you can use. This happens because your mind is built to respond to direction. It amplifies whatever you choose to focus on. You tell it what's important by what you give consistent attention to. Focus on problems and you see more problems. Focus on opportunities and your awareness expands toward possibilities you never noticed before. Your lens is also shaped by the environments you place yourself in, the habits you repeat, and the people you surround yourself with. If your environment reinforces negativity, limitation, or stagnation, that becomes the color of your lens. Your inner world absorbs the energy around you. But when you put yourself around people who think boldly, act with purpose, and push for more, your perspective stretches, your imagination grows, your internal limits loosen. You start seeing life through a lens that's more hopeful, more strategic, and more committed to progress. Over time, your lens becomes not only wider but sharper, allowing you to identify opportunities at a level that once seemed impossible. Number 2, your emotions follow your meaning. Your emotions follow your meaning, and this single principle shapes more of your life than almost anything else. Every situation you face, every challenge you encounter, and every moment you experience is instantly assigned a meaning by your mind long before you consciously realize it. That meaning becomes the lens that colors your emotional response. Two people can face the exact same event, losing a job, ending a relationship, facing financial strain, and walk away with entirely different emotional worlds. One feels defeated, hopeless, and overwhelmed because the meaning they assign is, "This is the end. I'm losing everything. Nothing works out for me." The other feels challenged, motivated, even energized because they assign a different meaning. "This is a turning point, a reset, a signal pushing me towards something better." The event is the same, yet the emotional experience is completely different because emotion is not triggered by the situation itself. It is triggered by the meaning you attach to it. Your mind is constantly interpreting, labeling, and defining what things mean, whether you do it consciously or automatically. When something unexpected happens, your nervous system doesn't immediately produce emotion. It waits for your mind to assign meaning first. And because this process happens so quickly, most people believe their emotions are just happening to them. But the truth is that emotion is always reacting to interpretation. If you interpret failure as proof you're not good enough, you will feel shame or discouragement. If you interpret failure as feedback, you will feel determination or curiosity. If you interpret someone's criticism as an attack, you feel anger or hurt. If you interpret it as an opportunity to improve, you feel more grounded and empowered. Your emotions follow your meaning like a shadow follows light, always connected, always responsive, always shaped by the direction you're facing. This is why two people can live in the same environment yet live emotionally opposite lives. The difference is not the circumstances, but the interpretation of those circumstances. What one person calls pressure, another calls training. What one person calls rejection, another calls redirection. What one person calls loss, another calls refinement. Meaning transforms the emotional weight of any experience. When you shift the meaning, you immediately shift the emotion, even if nothing about the situation itself has changed. This is why some people rise under difficulty. They've conditioned themselves to give empowering meaning to moments that would break someone else. They've trained their mind to ask different questions. What is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? Where is the opening here? Because the questions you ask determine the meaning you create, and the meaning you create determines the emotions you feel. Your emotional life is also shaped by the meanings you repeat over time. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm unlucky, I'm behind, nothing works for me," your emotional patterns will mirror those beliefs. You will naturally feel stress, fear, or disappointment because you've assigned meanings that create those emotions. But if you shift your inner language to, "I'm learning, I'm rising, I'm becoming stronger through this," your emotions shift with it. The meaning becomes a source of energy instead of a source of pain. And this isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about consciously choosing the meaning that empowers you rather than accepting the one that weakens you. When you choose a different meaning, you create a different emotional reality, even in the middle of the same external circumstance. Number 3, obstacles are not walls, they're signals. Obstacles are not walls, they're signals. And the moment you begin to understand this, the way you experience challenges transforms completely. Most people see obstacles as barriers, immovable, unfair, overwhelming interruptions that stop them from moving forward. But obstacles are not there to imprison you. They are there to inform you. Every challenge carries a message, a clue, a piece of direction about what needs to shift, strengthen, or evolve within you. When you run into something difficult, a failure, a rejection, a delay, it isn't a sign that you should turn back. It's a signal pointing towards something you need to learn, a capability you need to build, or a strategy you need to adjust. Obstacles become walls only when you misinterpret them, but when you read them as signals, they become guidance systems, not dead ends. Every great transformation is preceded by friction. It's the friction that sharpens you, the pressure that strengthens you, and the struggle that forces you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. If life removed every obstacle from your path, you wouldn't grow. You'd remain the same, repeating old patterns without ever touching the depth of your potential. Obstacles show you where your limits currently are, and at the same time, they show you exactly where those limits need to expand. They're indicators of areas that need reinforcement: your discipline, your mindset, your strategy, your resilience. When something stands in your way, it's not punishing you. It's signaling an area that's ready to level up. But most people see the obstacle and immediately label it as a stop sign instead of recognizing it as a guidepost. Think about how a navigation system works. It recalculates every time you steer off your intended route. It doesn't scream, "Your journey is over." It simply adjusts the direction and offers a new path. Obstacles operate the same way. They recalibrate your trajectory, redirect your energy, and force you to consider better, smarter, more empowered routes toward your goal. When you hit resistance, it's often life telling you that the old version of you cannot carry you into the next chapter. A stronger, sharper, more committed version of you is required, and the obstacle becomes the training ground for that version to emerge. Instead of viewing challenges as interruptions, view them as instructions, signals revealing what must be fine-tuned so you can move forward more effectively. Obstacles also reveal your relationship with fear and discomfort. They expose whether you have conditioned yourself to step forward or step back when things get tough. Some people interpret resistance as proof they aren't capable. Others interpret the same resistance as proof the path is meaningful. The difference is interpretation, not circumstance. When you shift from "this is stopping me" to "this is signaling me," you reclaim your power. The obstacle no longer becomes a threat but a messenger. It is communicating something about your habits, your approach, your beliefs, or your level of commitment. And when you listen to the message instead of reacting to the fear, you turn every obstacle into an opportunity for deeper alignment and greater strength. Obstacles often appear at the exact moment you're closest to progress because growth requires friction. They expose weaknesses so you can upgrade them, reveal blind spots so you can correct them, and introduce resistance so you can build endurance. They force you to make decisions from strength rather than from comfort. And each time you push through one, you gain a new level of awareness, clarity, and capability that you didn't have before. When you begin to welcome obstacles as signals instead of walls, you change not only how you move through life, but also who you become along the way. If you want the next keynote expanded, I can continue in the same detailed, powerful style. Number 4, opportunity thinking is a daily discipline. Opportunity thinking is a daily discipline, not a random spark of motivation or a moment of luck. It's a mental practice you commit to every single day, regardless of how you feel or what circumstances look like. Most people believe opportunities appear suddenly, as if they're accidents or gifts handed to a chosen few. But those who create impact in their lives know that opportunity is something you train your mind to notice. It's always present, always available, always calling you, but only a disciplined mind can recognize it. Without daily training, your mind defaults to familiar patterns. Fear, avoidance, doubt, and focusing on everything that could go wrong. But with consistent discipline, you begin to shift the way you interpret your world. You start looking for angles, openings, leverage points, and possibilities that would have been invisible to you before. Discipline turns your mind into a radar constantly scanning for chances to grow, act, and advance. This discipline requires more than positive thinking. It demands intentional focus. It means waking up each day and deciding what kind of lens you're going to use. Are you going to focus on everything that frustrates you, delays you, or scares you? Or are you going to train your mind to look for even the smallest spark of opportunity inside the situation? Opportunity thinking is like strengthening a muscle. The more you activate it, the stronger it becomes, and the stronger it becomes, the faster it works. Over time, your brain starts finding opportunities automatically because you've taught it that opportunity is something you value, something you expect, something you are committed to seeing. It becomes a habit of thought, an internal routine that shapes every reaction, every decision, every plan you make. Daily discipline also means you hold yourself accountable for the direction of your attention. The world is full of noise, negativity, distraction, and reasons to shrink. If you let the world direct your mind, you'll always focus on problems. But when you become the one who directs your mind, everything shifts. You begin to ask better questions, look for solutions, and interpret setbacks differently. A problem becomes a puzzle instead of a threat. A delay becomes preparation instead of punishment. A challenge becomes training instead of defeat. You teach your mind to stay open, curious, and proactive, even when your environment tempts you to close down emotionally or mentally. Opportunity thinking thrives on these moments because they are the times when discipline matters the most. Another part of this discipline is controlling your internal dialogue. Your self-talk builds the foundation for what your mind expects to see. If your inner voice fills your mind with limits, fears, and excuses, opportunity shrinks. But if your internal dialogue reinforces capability, resourcefulness, and confidence, your awareness of opportunity expands. You begin to catch ideas faster, respond to challenges with creativity instead of panic, and see patterns that others overlook. This internal conversation happens all day long, and discipline means shaping that voice so it supports your focus instead of sabotaging it. It means choosing thoughts that activate possibility rather than feed doubt. Opportunity thinking also demands consistency during moments when nothing seems to be working. This is where most people quit mentally, but this is exactly where discipline becomes powerful. When you continue training your focus, even when results are slow, you reinforce a mindset that doesn't break under pressure. You teach your brain that opportunity isn't something you wait for. It's something you create by maintaining clarity, action, and intentional thought every single day. If you want the next keynote expanded, I can continue in the same deep, powerful style. Number 5, your environment shapes your vision. Your environment shapes your vision in ways most people never fully realize, because the space you live in, the people you interact with, and the energy you're surrounded by all gradually influence how you think, what you believe, and what you expect from yourself. Your environment is not just the physical place you stand in, it is everything that feeds your mind. Your conversations, your habits, your routines, your digital world, your friendships, your work culture, and even the unseen emotional atmosphere that lingers around you. Whether you admit it or not, your environment constantly sends signals to your brain about what is normal, what is possible, and what is acceptable. If you stay in an environment filled with negativity, complaining, limitation, or fear, eventually that becomes your standard. You start seeing the world through a narrow lens because your surroundings normalize small thinking. Your vision begins to shrink, not because you lack the ability to grow, but because your environment unconsciously teaches you to lower your expectations, settle for less, and doubt anything beyond the familiar. On the other hand, when you step into environments that challenge you, empower you, and push you toward growth, your mind expands. You begin to feel a subtle shift inside you, a sense that more is possible, that higher standards are normal, that progress is not only achievable but expected. When you surround yourself with people who think boldly, act decisively, and strive for improvement, their mindset starts influencing your own. You pick up their language, their habits, their energy, their standards, and before you know it, you begin to see yourself differently. You start to raise your goals because their presence elevates your perception of what's attainable. Environments don't just shape your behavior, they shape your vision of who you can become. They either elevate your ambition or suppress it. They either fuel your purpose or drain it. They either expand your identity or confine it. Your environment also affects how you interpret challenges. In a weak environment, every setback feels like a crisis. Every obstacle feels personal, and every problem feels like evidence that you should stop. But in a strong environment, an environment built around growth and persistence, those same challenges are viewed as normal steps on the path to something greater. The people around you influence how you frame adversity. If your environment teaches you to withdraw or complain when things get hard, your vision will collapse at the first sign of difficulty. But if your environment teaches you to adapt, learn, and keep moving, you develop a vision that can withstand pressure. You begin to see obstacles as signals instead of walls, because the people around you reinforce a mindset of resilience and possibility. Even the physical environment matters more than you think. Cluttered spaces create cluttered thinking. Chaotic surroundings create chaotic focus. But environments built with intention, clear spaces, inspiring work areas, routines that support your goals, help your mind stay sharp and centered. The design of your environment becomes the design of your mental state. The more intentionally you shape your surroundings, the more powerfully your vision grows. Your environment can pull you toward your potential or pull you back into old patterns. When you choose environments that support growth, your vision naturally expands because you are constantly reminded of who you are capable of becoming. Number 6, massive action creates clarity. Massive action creates clarity because movement forces you to confront reality instead of being trapped in your thoughts, fears, and assumptions. Most people wait for clarity before taking action, believing they need a perfect plan, the perfect moment, or complete certainty before they begin. But clarity does not come from thinking, it comes from doing. The moment you start moving, even if you're unsure, even if the path feels messy or incomplete, you begin to gather information that your mind could never access by sitting still. Action gives you feedback. It reveals what works, what doesn't, what needs to change, and what direction you should adjust toward. Without action, everything remains theoretical. Your mind fills with doubts, overthinking takes over, and you stay stuck in a fog of uncertainty. But the instant you step forward, the fog begins to lift. You start to see more, understand more, and learn more because movement unlocks insight that hesitation keeps hidden. Massive action is not about reckless movement, it's about decisive momentum. When you take bold, committed steps towards something, you activate parts of your mind that stay dormant during planning. You tap into resourcefulness, creativity, resilience, and problem-solving abilities that only emerge under pressure. Inaction keeps you passive, but action forces you to engage. You become aware of the real challenges instead of imagining them, and that awareness sharpens your focus. You begin to identify patterns, opportunities, and shortcuts that were completely invisible before you started. Clarity grows through engagement, not speculation. Every step you take brings you closer to understanding what the next step should be, and that process compounds. One action leads to clearer insight, which leads to better decisions, which leads to more effective action. Momentum becomes your teacher. Massive action also destroys fear because fear thrives in stillness. When you hesitate too long, fear amplifies. Your mind exaggerates the risks, magnifies the unknown, and convinces you that the obstacle is larger than it is. But once you take a bold step forward, fear loses its grip because action exposes the truth. You realize the thing you were afraid of is manageable, navigable, or not nearly as threatening as your mind made it. With every action you take, you replace fear with experience, uncertainty with data, and hesitation with confidence. Clarity emerges because you're no longer imagining possibilities, you're interacting with them, you're shaping them. Action gives you the real evidence your mind needs to feel certain. Massive action also generates clarity by eliminating the paths that aren't meant for you. When you try something and it doesn't work, that failure becomes direction. It tells you, not this way, try another angle. Every attempt teaches you something about your abilities, your desires, your strategies, or your priorities. Instead of being stuck in indecision, you become someone who learns through execution. You stop trying to predict your way through life and start participating in it fully. Clarity deepens because you are no longer guessing, you are discovering. And through discovery, you refine your path with precision instead of hoping that clarity arrives on its own. Massive action builds internal certainty because the more you move, the more capable you feel. The more capable you feel, the clearer your vision becomes. The clearer your vision becomes, the more strategic your next actions are. This loop of action and clarity turns into momentum, and momentum becomes the force that pulls you toward your goals with greater speed, alignment, and confidence. When you train your mind to see opportunity instead of obstacles, you take control of your future instead of waiting for life to change on its own. Every challenge becomes a doorway, every setback becomes direction, and every day becomes a chance to rise stronger. Your focus is your power. Use it with intention, lead your your life with purpose and step boldly into the opportunities waiting for you.